Good morning. Behind me is the first visual that meets my eyes every morning since about mid-March. Can't remember what happened in mid-March. It'll come back to me. Anyway, the idea of promise, the concept, couldn't be more fitting for a January morning. This January more than others. I have to admit that the theme this month managed to make its way under my eyelids. So I cannot sleep past 5:45 a.m. No matter what I do. Can't do it. Once my eyes open, I lay in bed trying to will myself to sleep. Counted sheep once, but once you pass 10,000, the whole exercise seems futile. I've tried all things herbal and herbal. I've tried going to bed early, going to bed late, even at 3 or 4 a.m. a couple of times. Nothing. Nada. Zip. It's a Groundhog Day I was not anticipating. So, obviously, I spent too much time trying to figure out why. Could it be anxiety from a world seemingly going to hell? The elimination of what we all used to call plans? The surprisingly unchanged status of the contents of my fridge on an hourly basis? Coffee as mouthwash. So I found myself grasping for what to do in the darkness of the early morning while the rest of the world was asleep. I mean, there's always the annoying chores around the house, things that you never consider, like, golly gee whiz, the back of the fridge, right behind the fridge, is just a mess. I should really get to that. But after a time, I began to notice a hunger. That's nothing new. I mean a creative hunger that I had forgotten was there. As gradual as a sunrise, I started to notice that maybe these early mornings could be more creative mornings. Yeah, sorry. But really, why not use this time for the gift that it is? Why waste it on getting things done in the house? A graphic designer by trade, a writer by chance, being able to exert control over every pixel, over every syllable, is not just a reflex, but necessary. It's about trying to control the narrative and the clock. But as an improviser, having no control is preferable. It's even freeing. It's all about rolling with it and being forced to deal with whatever it wants to roll in your direction. So I rolled with it. I got back to reading books, writing, contemplating, reflecting on the day ahead, not to mention the day behind. I even got the opportunity to finally change my background. This 3-hour window of time before emails, calls, texts, what I like to call the tyranny of dings.
You got mail.
Yeah, that. It became a daily ritual, these 3 hours. Something I very much look forward to the night before. My time. Daily promise to myself to carve out a niche in the day to satisfy the parts of me not getting nourished, not getting fed. There aren't that many of those, by the way. Speaking of, all right. Thank you. I'm not a spiritual person per se, but all this early rising made me refocus on the creativity of simple rituals. My morning coffee, to take one, was very often just a caffeine delivery system with the main purpose of trying to get as much shit done in the first 3 hours of the day as possible, with the main purpose of trying to rev myself up to as high a level as possible so I can get as much shit done as possible in the first 3 hours of the day.
And then, of course, I would have another several cups to, take care of the next 6 hours. Am I right? But I was reminded by the fact that making yourself a cup of coffee is, in fact, a creative collaboration between yourself, dozens of hardworking farmers and pickers, the roaster, truck drivers, dock loaders, sea captains, probably the first mate. So much goes into delivering a delicious, flavorful cup of coffee to these here lips. I like making my coffee as a pour over because I think it best brings out the flavor of the beans. But the method also forces you to be mindful of the process, of the ritual. In fact, coffee drinking started out as only a ceremonial ritual in Ethiopia about, a million years ago or something. First, you got to start off with some good beans. And, maybe some counterculture beans? Creative Mornings sponsor? Let's see what they got here. Hold on a second. I need a minute. Okay. Good beans. We have Field Trip, the home edition, counterculture. Yes. This is coffee from Colombia, Ecuador, Rwanda. How fun is it to say Rwanda? 2 different continents are joining together with this continent to make something special. So it all starts first. It's all about the grind. This would have been a good spot for some kind of grinding sound cue. How about this? Can we do that? There you go. The beans, they just pour them in the grinder, let it rip. You know how a grinder works. Anyway, we're going to wait for our coffee here just for a second to get to the proper temperature. But it's just like a cooking show. The beans are already ground. Oh, where are those angels? So, where were we? Coffee filter. Got to have one of these guys. Put it right on the scale. And think about, again, I have been on a coffee farm. I've picked coffee. It's a task and a half. It's really not fun at all. But what makes it rewarding is that at the end, when you brew it, you can actually taste the land. You can almost feel a closeness to the people who produced it, who put it together for you. You think about these things when you wake up at 5:45 in the morning. Okay, water, brew. Let's wet that filter. Get it going. Put it on a scale. Pouring the coffee, which again is Field Trip by Counterculture. I don't know what it is, but this early morning ritual has really just gotten a hold of me. And I don't know if you could, well, forget it. But there's basically a bloom going on. The gases are being released by the coffee once you pour the water on it. They call it a bloom. Isn't that nice? The day starts off with a bloom, and it's January. It also got me thinking about other things, like this idea of promise, I should say. As the first generation of child of immigrants, Egyptian immigrants, my parents came over from the desert lands to the land of plenty. 1969, Summer of Love. Although I'm 43, so the loving, I think, started a few years later. But anyway, they came over from Egypt with nothing but sand in their pockets, basically. And myself, my 3 siblings, we really do embody nothing but promise. Except for the grandkid thing. Sorry, Mom. But yeah, it's all about what's ahead. And there's no better way to see that when you're up early in the morning and the whole world is quiet. It gives you a chance to reflect and a chance to get excited about the day, actually. With every pour, we get closer to something wonderful that not only nourishes the spirit, I think, not only has a field day with your adrenal glands, but also, for me, it's like I've already created something today. And all it takes is like 4 minutes or so, and you're pretty much done. Does the mug clash with my shirt? Yes. But that doesn't matter. We're going to pour this lovely, lovely creation we just came up with. Voila. Voila. Thank you for, man, I wish I could share this. I really do, but more for me. At the end of the day, and I guess at the beginning of the day, a cup of coffee is still an excellent caffeine delivery system. Let's be honest, it is. So much so that I am inspired to dance. And for those of you who are able and willing, stand up and reach back into nostalgia fire with me.